In this video, we're going to cover adding product operations into Katana via the template import. So operations are basically the tasks that you have to go through in a sequence of events in order to complete the production of a product. So a prerequisite for importing operations is that you have your products uploaded into the system, and also that those products have an associated SKU, because it uses a similar logic just like the recipe import, that you have to map to a product SKU or a product variant SKU, which is unique, in order to assign the operation to the correct product that you are making. So I've already downloaded the template here, which can be found here in the download template section. One other thing before we get into it is that the add new product operations template can also be used to update operations. So it's not just adding new operations to a product, but it's also replacing operations on a product as well. So of course, as it goes with any product you manufacture, sometimes you make adjustments to that product through time, improve the way it's made. You might also change the operations that are associated with it. So that can also be done through the same upload process here. Katana will give you the option to say, do you want to add those to existing products who might already have operations, so you can actually add additional operations to them, or do you want to replace the existing ones that are with the existing products that are already in the system? So lots of ways to go about it, but just so you know, even though it says add new product operations, it's also used to update or replace existing product operations if you need it for that purpose. So let's go into it a little bit more detail here, and let's talk about the template and what it looks like, what's here, and how does it look. I'm going to do the same thing, side by side, show you where that information is going to plug into Katana and kind of how it works. Firstly, inside of the template itself, there are some instructions. So there's plenty of things to support you. You can check out the knowledge base. You can check out the instructions inside of the template, all kinds of stuff to help you out with that. So anyway, going into this in more detail, I'll pull up the operations tab on one of our products so you can see the data that's associated. So let's take this television stand. Now this television stand, there's different variants of that television stand, and so you'll see that there's different operations here. So just as we've already gone through this in the previous product training videos, what we're doing with this template is we're creating a new operation, which is kind of like one of these rows here. And for that operation, we're associating it to a pre-existing variant. So even though the information looks a little different when you look at it from that perspective, from the spreadsheet, what you need to know mostly is that the operation here, whenever you map it to a variant, you pick from the variant options list below in order to specify what particular variants are using that specific operation. As you might have figured, like for example, if you're making a table, you would paint a table or not paint a table. So typically, if you have one of the variants of a table being wood finish instead of a specific color, it would associate with a paint operation if it's colored, but it wouldn't associate with a paint operation if it's not colored. So that's kind of how the operations are related to the variants. If something has a specific characteristic variant that is as the result of an operation, then you map it. So that just kind of like put some context to what we're working with and how that works here. So yeah, let's going into a bit more detail. Here inside of the spreadsheet, product code SKU required. This is the absolute most important thing. If you don't have a SKU for the the product variant, then you won't be able to create an operation through an import with them. Again, you can add the product variant name here if you find it helpful, but this is only optional, so it's not necessary. What is necessary is the product operation name. Product operation name is the name of what is being done, and that is what you'll find here as a row, as the first item in the row on the production operations tab, the operation steps. And then that information can be associated with a resource. Now, resource, as we've discussed in the previous videos, a resource could be like a person or a workstation. Um, Depending on what Katana plan you're using, would kind of dictate what a resource technically is. But for the sake of importing operations, just to have them on the product card, this information is generally optional. Um, you have, I think there is a note here that says that if the resource name that you enter does not match any existing resource in Katana, then Katana will create a new resource. So you can actually add resources through this process if you want, but it's also not a mandatory field. The reason for this, the reason why it's not mandatory is that when it comes to like costing, for example, you see we have a cost per hour, hours, minutes, and seconds on these specific columns. Resource doesn't carry a specific cost for Katana at this moment in time. When you start getting into some of the advanced functionalities, which Katana will eventually release in the upgraded plans, assuming that you're only on essential, maybe in advanced or professional at some point, we might support resource costing, for example. But most important thing I want to point out is that the cost per hour is the cost per hour on the operation. So if you specify this operation here, how much does it cost to do that operation per hour for the product that you're making? That's kind of where the idea of how much that item would cost comes from. So when you're working with cost per hour, it sometimes might be important for you to think about how do I organize that information in my spreadsheet so it makes sense for my business. Generally speaking, costs are broken down. You have like a person that you're paying like an hourly rate, and you have like a machine that has a machine running cost per hour, and then you have maybe in certain cases you're costing out by quantity of units, like a fixed cost per unit made. There's different types of costs that are associated with manufacturing, but for simplicity on the operations that we provide, the best way we can give sort of advice in this case is uh, what is the total cost per hour to make 1 unit of that product? And so this would include possibly the person's average salaries, the machine's average cost to run. It's a very, very general level of cost that you would associate here, typically speaking. And so, um, it's up to you how you want to dictate that, depending on your manufacturing process. Now, again, with companies that are doing weights, volumetric and weight-based manufacturing processes, where the unit of measure is actually something more akin to a batch, this is a bit challenging because one of the things that you have to think about when you're coming up with the operation steps for your products is to be certain that the operation that you're applying here is associated specifically to the per unit of measure. So if you are, as I used an earlier example, making 1,000 liters of, let's say, a beverage or a soft drink, you have to get creative here, noting that, okay, well, if my unit of measure is tracking in liters as opposed to 1,000 liter batches, how much do I spend per liter? So sometimes and then you would create a manufacturing order which has the batch size, like 1,000 liters. Then you would want this cost per hour to kind of come out to be the correct amount that would be associated with that batch size. So these are more like workarounds that you have to think about. Whereas in the future, when we start working with fixed set of time for a process that's done in, let's say, like kind of a batch, using volumetric or weight-based measurements, or formula-based recipes even for volume or weight-based products, then when we have those types of functionalities to support on the import, then of course that will be a different scenario in how importing would be done. So just something to think about with the certain types of products you have. In certain cases, it might be useful to just upload the operation here if you're doing any batch manufacturing, and then go into the Katana's application and then associate the cost and times per manufacturing order in the beginning, just to kind of get the hang of the logic of how it works. So just a couple of tips and tricks that I think would be helpful for any newcomer into the platform that has different types of manufacturing processes as they relate to discrete or process-based manufacturing. Now, cost per hour, what Katana is doing is when you make a manufacturing order, by default, it uses the hours, minutes, and seconds for all of the operations that are associated with that product multiplied by the quantity of that product being made. So, for example, it's very easy if you do like, serial type production where every unit that you make takes X amount of time per operation, and then if you make 10 units, it will just multiply that operation times 10. Pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science in this sense. However, if you are, doing batch-based production and you're manufacturing something, and it takes, let's say, you do a mixing process for some liquid type of product, it could take 8 hours to do that. But you're making, let's say, 100 liters, then what would happen by accident is it would multiply 100 liters times 8 hours, and then you have this huge manufacturing time multiplied to create this huge cost per hour. So these are the things that you have to think about with respect to batch manufacturing as an example. So yeah, those are a couple of examples here. And then when this data is inputted, it all goes into here as well. It gives you cost per hour for that item per unit. So every single operation here is per unit of measure. So just keep that in mind, that how much time per unit of measure, how much cost on that specific operation per unit of measure created. So every manufacturing order has a quantity, and then that number is actually multiplied by that specific quantity to give you the cost and time that it takes to make it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Not a complicated import. Again, once you save it, and then you go back here into the settings page on the data import section and upload the information, product operations, it'll ask you, do you want to keep your existing information for operations and then just add to it? Or do you want to replace the existing operations that you have for those variants? You just make your selection if you're going to replace or add additional, and then off you go. Easy as that.